Chair of the Awards Committee, I'd like to call the October 21st, 2021 awards meeting to order. We have a physical quorum represented by Stephen Datz, Hai Vu, and Ricky Erickson. We also have Joe Orfano and Laura Dutton joining us via WebEx. The Office of General Counsel is represented by Regina Ross, and Budget is represented by Lori Whitmer. Before we begin today's agenda, I'll note that there isn't anyone physically present from the public for public comment. Haley, did you receive any public comment via email?
No comment at this time.
All right, thank you. I'll pause for a moment for callers join us via WebEx to unmute and speak up. Hearing no comments, we'll proceed with today's regular agenda. On today's agenda, we have items 1 through 7 that have been reviewed by Procurement and Budget. These items are now ready to be reviewed by the Awards Committee. Beginning with item 1, representing the minutes from the October 14th, 2021 Awards Committee meeting, are there any comments or corrections to be discussed? Okay, hearing none, may I get a motion to approve award item 1, representing the minutes from the October 14th, 2021 Awards Committee meeting?
Laura Dutton, so moved.
And a second?
Orfano, second.
All right, I heard Ricky coming in on second. So we have a motion from Laura Dutton, a second from Ricky Erickson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Minutes are approved as presented. I'll pass it over to Jenny McCollum, our Chief Procurement Officer, to walk us through each of the remaining items before I ask for a motion.
Thank you. Through the chair, this is Jenny McCollum. I am starting with award number 2. We've got a request for proposal. This is for the Cisco Contact Center Managed Services contract. This is a new contract for 3 years with 2 one-year optional renewals. This is to provide support for JEA's Contact Center, Unified Contact Center Enterprise Management. The support provided will ensure JEA's system is capable of operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So the recommended awardee is Prosus in the amount of $1,248,858. When we went through this competitive bid, we received 3 proposals. One of them was a qualified response. 2 were unqualified. They all met the minimum qualifications and passed those. However, there was specific verbiage in our technical specification that they needed to use JEA's existing IT service management tools to interact with on-site JEA telecommunication and network employees. So this, currently we've got our own network operations center and utilize SolarWinds as our primary monitoring solution, which enables JEA's resources to have more holistic view of the network by maintaining a unified system that's familiar to JEA's resources that also allows JEA to own the data and limit who has access. So Presidio and Converge 1 were disqualified because their proposals contain solutions using their own tools other than JEA's monitoring tools. I'll also note before I pass it to the committee for questions that this company is our incumbent. They are performing well on the existing contract, and we are seeing a monthly increase of about 8% for this new 3-year contract, but the rates are, the increase are result from additional scope really that we've added and slight change in our labor rates. So I will pause there and see if the committee has any questions or comments.
This is Hai. I do have a question. Certainly understand the need for the vendor to be able to work with our tools. But the concern is that will it keep building on itself so that in the future, no other vendors can be successful because we keep building on our system and our tools, and they're required to work with what we have so that the incumbent will always have the advantage.
The on-premise tools, the platforms that we're using are commercial off-the-shelf products, so they're not customized or unique to JEA.
Okay.
So there is an opportunity for other companies to come in and work with us.
Okay.
I guess to Jenny and the committee, our previous vendor, High, actually used proprietary tools of theirs prior to this vendor coming in, and when they left, that was all their intellectual property, and so we had to start over. So that was one of the reasons that was really driving us using a industry standard tool set.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. So we actually
Moving the other way.
Exactly. Thank you.
Good question.
I think those are actually really great questions. Why don't we, Nathan, why don't we add a sentence or just something in that first paragraph in the background recommendations where we speak to our IT service management tools to make a comment that they are, kind of off the shelf, not proprietary in any way, and interchangeable with other people's systems and software.
Morning. Yeah, this is Nathan. Yeah, we can do that, Jenny. I guess one other thing to add what Kim said, that these other vendors can use these industry standard tools, but they're hesitant to do it because they like to use their own systems and tools that are, typical to their solution. So there's some hesitancy on that, but these are industry standard tools. So we'll add a sentence there, Jenny.
Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 2 with amendments?
Joe Orfano, so moved.
All right, we'll have the motion from Hai Vu and a second from Joe Orfano. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll pass it back over to you, Jenny, for award item 3.
Thank you. Award item 3 through the chair is a contract increase. This award and award number 4 are the same services. So this is just to add money to our existing contract to finish out through the existing term of November 30th, 2021. Then you'll see the next one is a new 2-year contract for the services. And this covers all of our telephony, DSL, internet, DDoS. This is our, communications with AT&T. So we are recommending an increase to the current contract in the amount of $658,737. That'll take us through to the end of the term through November. I'll just note, as we were negotiating and working with AT&T on the next 2-year contract, which you'll see next, we were working through that, and so we decided to postpone this award and bring both of them together so they were on the same agenda, and for us to kind of talk through both of these at the same time. In doing so, we did need to pay some outstanding invoices that covered from August through October. So you'll see that there is a ratification of about $527,000 of this award. The remaining will be through for us to pay for the November invoice and then move to the new contract. Lots of change in additions to this contract, since we've had it in place 5 years, since November of 2016. I won't read through all of that, but I will pass it over to the business to kind of take us through, just some of the changes that we have seen on this contract, the reason why we have, kind of these additional change orders that we've had along the way, just to provide some background to the committee. And then I think that'll kind of set us up nicely for the next award and how we walk through that one. So Kim, do you want to do that, or do you want Nathan to walk us through it?
Jenny, I'm happy to provide some insight. So part of this was getting additional services that we needed to transition our data centers that were in the term of the contract. So we had to carry, double the amount of PRIs and additional internet circuits. And that was one of the reasons why there was an overage in our original estimates during this contract cycle. The other thing that we're working on doing right now is reducing our PRIs. We were at 43. We will be reducing those to 32 going into this new contract cycle. And then the other thing that we're going to be doing is we have some older technology via Centrex links that we will be looking at new technologies to reduce some additional costs there. And the other changes were we went from 500 meg internet circuits to 1 gig internet circuits. And now we're actually going to be increasing those from 1 gig to 3 gig out of both data centers. And the primary reason for that is really the uptick on the use of WebEx and video over the network. So those were the primary drivers, was the conversion of the data centers. Now we are right sizing our PRIs. We are increasing the size of our current internet circuits, and then we will be looking at new technologies for those older Centrex and intralata private line links.
Thanks, Kim. I couldn't have said it better, so I appreciate you jumping in. I'll just note from a procurement perspective, we are piggybacking off of the state contract, and where the state didn't have pricing, we're piggybacking off of COJ's contract. But the next award, which we'll get into in a little bit, we're going to continue to do that as we work through kind of what our needs are going to be over the next 2 years. That's the shortest term that we could negotiate with AT&T and using the piggyback rates. So we will look at other possibilities of bidding this out on our own, but utilizing the state has been the most cost effective, using their numbers and their scale for us from our perspective as well. So we'll look at, the possibility of bidding this out, but so far the piggyback has been our best option.
Jenny, I just wanted to add a couple of other points of clarification. When we originally did the estimates for each PRI, there was a general cost for the PRI, and then there were additional services that are added on top of those, and then there can also be mileage. So when we just took the original cost, I think we had estimated at $500 per PRI. It really ended up being $800 by the time you added all the fees and services. So that was the difference in the cost there. The other thing is when we have started services at different times, usually they are in 2-year chunks. So there were some PRIs that actually came out of the out from underneath the contracted rate. Once we sign our new contract, we are going to be expected to receive a retro credit from AT&T because they are going to backdate those PRIs so that they would all be co-termed under the new 2-year agreement and pricing structure.
Thank you, Kim. Any other comments or questions?
This is high. Quick question. Is the ratification for the $500 and so thousand or the $262 that for unpaid invoices? In the write-up, yeah, it said $527 to cover outstanding invoices from August to the end of October, but in the pricing tables there, you only show October and I think November for $262,000.
Kim, do you want to jump in there? I think there was some co-terming that ended as well, and some things we had to pay.
Right.
But I'll let
So
Kim.
the reason why our money ran out before our contract did.
Yeah.
So our contract actually ended ends in November, but our money ran out at the beginning of August because of the move to the new data center, carrying those additional PRIs. We did have some that they were not co-termed in the contract, so they went to a higher rate. So all of that, these are the ratification are bills that we needed to pay through the end of October. The total amount here is to get us through the end of the contract, which is the $658,000 request. And then we will start a new contract with all services co-termed and under the contracted rate. And once that contract is signed, they are going to retro us a credit under the previous contract, which should be about $200,000. So you'll see that in the next award item.
I think the verbiage is just a little confusing for him when you look at the unpaid 2 final invoices. They're referring to the October and November, so I guess we just need to clarify that we paid for August and September and some additional items from the ratification standpoint, and then we have to pay
Yes.
these unpaid invoices for October and November.
Yeah, this is Nathan again. I can jump in and add a little extra. So that unpaid invoice section in the table, actually October has been paid and it is part of the ratification. So the only thing that is not part of the ratification amount is the November estimate right there, the 131, the last line. Everything else was part of that ratification. So if we need to update that table, it says unpaid invoices right now, but really that October invoice was paid already.
Yeah, let's make that update.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair to vote on award number 3.
Good discussion. Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 3?
High vote, so moved.
And a second? Ricky, second. All right. We have a motion from Hai Vu, a second from Ricky Erickson. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll pass it back to Jenny to present award item 4.
Thank you. Through the chair, this one hopefully will be pretty easy since we did a lot of discussing on award number 3. This is the new contract for the 2 years with AT&T as the recommended awardee as a piggyback. This is in the amount of $3,210,071.76. I think the discussion we had, kind of sums up what we're pulling into this contract, how we're going to look at it going forward. But I will just note, since Ted is on the line, I do want to just note, the shortage in the budget piece. So we do have some budget. You can see we're using some on the last contract for FY22. The remaining will be used on this contract for FY22, but there is still a shortage in the budget, which they will be utilizing and reallocating from the COJ radio and Verizon bucket of money to cover the shortage of the FY22 budget. In the FY23 budget, they are going to be budgeting higher to right-size the award and the amounts being paid and the updated needs with the new data centers, et cetera. And so it should correct itself for the FY23 budget. We also have that $200,000 credit that we should be getting, but we have not accounted for that in any of this until we sign the contract and see that come to fruition. So I just wanted to make a note and see if you have any questions on that piece.
So the Verizon money that we're going to use to get us over the hump on this in 22, I'm assuming that there'll be still enough to pay all the Verizon bills in that bucket.
Ted, I need to do some analysis on that, but that is our expectation at this time.
Thank you.
Any questions from the committee on award number 4? All right, hearing none, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 4?
Joe Orfano, so moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Joe Orfano and a second from Hai Vu. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll pass it back over to you, Jenny, for award item 5.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 5, we are going to take a break from the IT category and move over to the facilities side. We've got an invitation for bid. This is for our generator supply and installation services of the Brandy Branch Generating Station backup generator with base tank and enclosure. Ring Power Corporation is our recommended awardee in the amount of $883,300. We expect this to be installed and completed about August of 2022. We have a pre-qualified list of vendors. There's 4 on this list that they've been pre-qualified through the years to understand, the specs and the needs, and that's an open qualification. People can apply and get on as things develop in the market, but we did receive bids from all 4. And I'll just note that the award amount is slightly higher than what our budget is, about 4%, mainly due to the raw materials, just the steel and the aluminum and the copper, PVC have contributed to the increase. So that's pretty standard with what we're seeing in the market right now from the generator aspect of it. And then just as a note, there is installation services included in this as well. So I will pause there and ask the committee if you guys have any questions or comments.
Hey, Jenny, this is Ricky. Was this for a lift station? Is that what this is for?
This is for the shared services building. Go ahead, William. You can probably explain it better.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Ricky, this is a DC battery charging backup for 5 outbuildings located at Brandy Branch. That's buildings B51, 52, 53, and ST4. It's supplying lighting, air conditioning, DC battery backup, as well as we're going to be supporting the operations building where the control room is. So they have full lighting, HVAC, and everything else during a storm or something happens during an outage.
Okay, that's what I thought. So is this just a name of the award you have right here above the approvers? 14104154448 request approval to award the Ring Power. See what I'm talking about?
Hi, Ricky. This is Elaine Selders. That is a typo there. I have, the incorrect title. I'll correct that on that award. It was from a previous generator. So we'll fix that to Brandy Branch.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks.
Stephen, you're slacking on your corrections. Ricky just
Way to go, Ricky.
stepped in your arena.
It's a team effort.
I like it. Well, you guys have to keep us all in line. I appreciate that. We'll make that update. Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote on award number 5.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 5 with amendments?
This is Ricky, so moved.
And a second?
Laura Dutton, second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Ricky Erickson and a second from Laura Dutton. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll pass it back over to you, Jenny, for award item 6.
Wonderful. Thank you. Through the chair, award number 6. This was a request for proposal. And I'm going to just take a moment. It is for the design and implementation of electric and water demand side management programs. But we lovingly call this one our mega bid. And I want to give some credit to the procurement team and the business for working really hard on this bid. And I want to have Nick, if Nick, I could put you on the spot. You worked really hard on putting this together with the business. So if you want to take us through this, I'd like you have an opportunity to explain it to the committee.
Yeah, hi, Jenny. This is Nick. I love calling it a mega bid. It makes it sound like it's a transforming robot with 7 heads. But when we started talking about this, it really became clear that it was going to be to our advantage, to JEA's advantage, to include as many vendors as possible. So not only that, but we also wanted to look at as many different solutions as possible. So to get there, not only did we have the vendors propose their solutions individually, but we also had the vendors propose their solutions combined because we knew that there were going to be synergies that came out from the different scope combinations. So what you see in this award, the 3 different scopes are for the residential, electric and water. You have the scope 2 is for the commercial electric and water, and then thirdly is for the field services. So to really maintain that flexibility, so to keep things apples to apples and like for like, we evaluated this bid 7 different ways. So we looked at the 3 individual scopes separately. We looked at 3 scenarios with the different combined scopes, and we actually looked at 1 scenario as well with all the scopes combined. So we evaluated it 7 different ways. So really that flexibility and that extra effort really gave JEA the result that it wanted. Again, we were able to see as many vendors as possible and as many different solutions as possible. So really hats off to the evaluation team for all their hard work. It was a great race. I think it really produced something good in the end. So.
Thanks, Nick. It really is something quite impressive. So if you guys have questions, please step up, ask, but I'll walk you guys through the 2 different awards. The first award is going to Franklin Energy Demand Response, and they are being awarded scope 1 and 3 in the amount of $22,302,730. And the second award is going to ICF Resources, LLC, and this is for scope 2, and the amount is $6,022,110. I want to take a moment to explain a little bit further. So we are awarding these to their budgets, to the business's budgets for the next 3 years. And what we did in the award, in the solicitation is we ask the respondents to use our budgets that we already have established and to give us a response to show us the savings that they can return working within the budgets that we have. So this was also a little bit different than what we would typically do. We did not ask them for pricing, but we scored them on their savings to JEA. I won't walk you through, kind of, you guys can see on the second and third pages how the bucket is split up with the budget between the 3-year awards for scope 1, 2, and 3. But I do want to pass it to the business at this time to kind of take us through the savings and just explain to the committee kind of what all of that means. They will do a much better job than I will of explaining it. So I don't know, Vicki, do you want to take that, or do you want to have someone on your team take it? And if you're talking, I can't hear you. Make sure you're unmuted. Still can't hear you. Brian, do you have enough information to take us through that? Okay, sorry, Vicki, we can't hear you.
Sure, that's fine, and I'll also defer to Susan, who is the program manager for this project. Just to back up at a high level, you'll see that the costs are really defined over project design, management, admin fees, and then the customer incentives themselves. So what we're planning on doing or the whole goal of the contract was to be able to create some synergies by putting like scopes of work together. As you guys know, we've had energy DSM, and we have now established water DSM. We combine these together because for a residential customer, whether it's an energy device or a water device, the back office is all the same. So why not have the ability to have one implementation contractor pass along those savings, hopefully to us and therefore our customers. So we scored these first along their expected savings, MGD and megawatt hour, which is what you see right there. And we evaluated these by individual scope. So again, scope 1 is residential, scope 2 is commercial, scope 3 is field services. If you're familiar with our NEE program, our neighborhood energy efficiency program, where we go into low-income homes and replace their equipment with energy efficient equipment and do education, that's the field services piece. So what it does is it allows us to score their savings, but not only their savings, because we're also scoring their project program design and their approach, which is also a major part of their score. And so we designed it, and kudos to Nick and Nathan and Jenny for helping us design this so that we could score based on their individual scopes. So what you see there is we identified Franklin as having the highest score for scope 1 and 3. We don't have to choose Franklin to do 1 and 3. We could choose individual scopes if we wanted to, but the team felt that after the presentations, they had the best synergy and could offer us the most savings, both on the energy side and the water side, to be able to deliver that. So we awarded them scope 1 and 3. By default, that means we go to scope 2 and decide who do we want to do that. Mathematics-wise, as well as our subjective opinion, ICF clearly won scope 2, which is the commercial piece. There's synergies there with our existing contract with ICF, who's helping us with electrification. And Franklin currently does our NEE program. It's been nationally renowned, and I'm very happy that we get to continue that relationship with them and continue to be productive, as well as get the synergy associated with providing residential products as well at the same time. And Jenny, I don't know how much more detail you want. I'll take my cue from the panel, and if Nick or Nathan or Susan would like to add anything as well.
That was perfect. Susan, do you have anything you want to add? I definitely don't want to leave you out of this. You worked really hard on this as well.
No, I'm great with everything. As Nick and Brian said, this is a very complex bid and a complex evaluation, but I appreciate the team, and the results I think are going to be great for JEA.
Thank you. Do you have any information that you could share on the savings that we're going to see versus, what we're doing today, and then how those synergies are coming about by the combination of scopes, or if we're going to see more savings because of that this year and over the next 3 years?
Absolutely, Jenny. I would say probably one of the cool things that is clearly evident is we're going from 4 or 5 vendors now to 2. That's going to create some synergies, and they're simply because I go back to what I was saying on the residential side and even on the commercial side. Residential side, more than anything, whether I am rebating a light bulb on the energy side, or if I'm rebating a irrigation timer on the water side, the back office for offering that rebate, the pop-up material that's inside of Home Depot that you see, the execution, collecting all the data, reporting on that, working with the same vendor, will all happen from a single vendor now. I won't have, say, Franklin going to Home Depot for the light bulbs and having a conversation, and then having right behind them ICF, another company, come and talk to them about the water products. So that's a lot where the synergy is behind the scenes. But also, I was very happy to see that the vendors took that opportunity to say, and High might be interested in this, we have our initial set of water DSM measures, right, High? The vendors came back and said, I can already tell you where I want to expand. I can already tell you where I want to see this go, so we can get even more water savings associated with these products. You've got custom on the commercial side. Why don't we have custom on the water side? Because we're not going to identify all of the things that are going to save water from a business perspective. Allow us the opportunity to show that we're going to reduce your MGD. So I'm very happy about that, and Vicki really helped us to clarify that this vendor, over a 5-year period, we need to hire a vendor that's not just good for today and delivering our existing product offering, but it's going to be a partner and help us strategize and figure out what we need to do in the 3rd year, the 4th year, and the 5 years, so that we can grow. So we want to be able to offer what we currently have, but the vendors have to have the vision to take us to the next level. As we request more MGD and megawatt hours, they've got to help us transition this program, and I think we got the vendors to be able to do that.
Perfect. And I'll just clarify real quick that it is a 3-year award. That's the budget that you see presented, that we do have the 2 1-year optional renewals on this award as well. Go ahead, Susan. Sorry.
Jenny, hi, it's Vicki. Could I make one point of clarification? Can you hear me now?
Of course, yes.
Hi,
yes, please.
Hi, good morning. Hi, I apologize to the committee. My external speaker apparently went out on my back and forth from JEA office to home. So I switched to my phone. Glad you can hear me. Just one point. Brian, you did a great job on that. And Jenny, just want to thank you and your team. And our teams just worked so amazingly wonderful on this. Brian, I do want to clarify one point for High, since High is on the call. High, we do have Franklin as the prime vendor, but we do have a lot of sub-companies reporting to Franklin to pull this body of work together, one of which is Hazen, and many on the call may know Hazen, but Hazen is a contractor to Franklin on this project. So I know that they had bid on the major water RFP that we did. So I did want High to particularly know that Hazen is included in this, and we'll be working to deliver the implementation on the water programs. Brian, do you, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that point. Brian, your points were great, but I wanted High to know that. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki. Does the committee have any questions or comments?
Joe, Jenny. I just wanted to get a clarification. I did the math. In terms of the budget, we were talking about water being in the neighborhood of $6 million for fiscal year 22, and it's 6.18. I assume that's the budget and the lion's share of the $7.5 million, but I just wanted to get a confirmation of that, if my math's correct.
So this is Nathan. I can jump in. The tables that break down the amounts that the vendors actually bid on, we asked the vendors to bid based on the budget amount. They were given the budget amount. However, when their bids came back, they were the actual amounts they were bidding per year were slightly less than the actual budget amount. However, we're still, our intention is to award the actual budget amount, but the breakdowns you'll see in the tables are slightly less than what the vendors actually bid per year. So that's the discrepancy.
Got it. Thanks, Nate. I applaud streamlining the vendors. I think it's a terrific idea. I applaud both the business unit and procurement for heading in this direction. I think it's going to save money down the road.
Thanks, Joe. Any other questions? Thanks,
Jen,
Joe.
All right. Go ahead, Joe.
I did get a confirmation from Stephanie on the budget, so I appreciate that.
I had one other thing, Jenny. There's actually, I saw a typo in the scoring. You can scroll down there to the scoring one more time. So the highlight under Franklin Scope 1 and 2 should actually be under Scope 1 and 3. That's incorrect. So I'll get that corrected. We awarded Scope 1 and 3, not 1 and 2, which is highlighted there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I think, Jenny, it's a little bitty nit thing, but if you scroll back up to the initial set of bullet points, I think the E got left off of rebate.
Okay, we'll look at that.
That one right there. It might just be cutting it off on the screen, but.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And gold star, you get the gold star this agenda. Your team did amazing.
So, then this is Ricky. So just so I'm clear, this is all about doing physical hard things behind the meter at a customer location to reduce their either energy consumption or water consumption?
Correct, Ricky. It's also has a very large and comprehensive education that goes with it to help customers change their behavior as well, but also physical products.
Okay, so nothing controllable from a control center or nothing. This is all static. Once it's installed, it's the way it is. Okay.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
So
Any other questions or comments?
This is Hyde. Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Brian, Nikki, for the detailed explanation. I just wanted to ask about the scoring. You scroll down a little bit more where we're expected to see the savings both in MGD and kilowatts. I think, yeah. I guess scroll up. There was a table that showed the expected MGD savings and kilowatt savings. Yeah, right here. So the scoring was straightforward, but here I can't help but notice, like for scopes 1 and 3, Honeywell actually scored the best as far as savings was concerned. So did that mean that their approach and everything else did not score as well?
So this is Nathan again. I believe the question is, so we scored many different factors on this, and the savings was one component. I believe it was 35 points out of the scoring total. So all these different scopes, as Nick said in the beginning, they're all scored separately and individually to give our JEA the option and flexibility to choose any one of these scopes in particular. So all these numbers are independent of the other scopes as far as how they were evaluated and scored. The scopes 1 and 3 are only comparable to those other numbers in the same column, and then every other different scope scenario is completely independent. I'm not sure if that answers your question or not, but that's kind of how we went about that. Brian, if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, hi. I might want to add to that and just say the other way to look at it is you'll find within each scope you've got an estimate of what the vendor said they would save in terms of water and energy. However, what they say they can save is only part of the score. Obviously, the rest of that scoring is going to be on what's your justification for such a high savings number? Where's your experience? Where is your training? What is your project design? Do we believe that your scope and evaluation is going to achieve what you have? And so we're scoring what we believe is their presentation and support for such a high energy and water savings. And obviously, if we believe that they can do it and it's been substantiated to us, we're going to score it higher. If not, we're going to score it lower. So it's just not pure savings because it has to be substantiated. Does that help, Pi?
Yes, great explanation. Thank you, Brian.
Any other questions? I think we've heard from most of the committee. Stephen, do you have any comments?
I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, passing it back to you to vote on award number 6.
All right. May I get a motion to approve award item 6?
Award item so moved.
All right, I'm going to go with Haivu for motion and Laura Dutton for second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is adopted. Jenny, I'll pass it back over to you for our final award, item 7.
Wonderful. Thank you. Through the chair, award number 7 is a contract increase. This is for our fire-resistant clothing. Opine LLC, doing business as American FR and Safety, is our awardee, and the recommended contract increase is $194,000. We bid this out originally as an informal for a 3-year, and this one expires next year, September 30th, 2022. So we originally, like I said, bid that out. We based off of just kind of estimates on the best guess we could come up with from a usage standpoint. We thought this would be informal. I'll note that a lot of the businesses were doing spot buys, so this was the first time we grouped all of this together to bid this out back in 2019. And so we've had a few increases. The committee has seen this once before, once it rose above that $300,000 level back in December of 2020. You guys saw it for the first time. So this is an additional increase to continue to support the use of the contract through the rest of the term. As the business units kind of increase the adoption of this and stop doing spot buys and pulling all of this on, we're seeing kind of a real usage come to fruition. So we would like to, continue to look at that to get a good 3-year total of what we think we'll spend. And then prior to FY23, we'll release a new solicitation to bid these services out again. And, we may include, some additional offerings like online ordering, local or retail distribution, that kind of stuff, voucher-based process to make it easier for the employees. But for now, we'll, continue to use this contract with this increase. I'll make a note from a budget perspective. You can see in the chart, there's lots of different kind of line items that are in the budget that allow the business to, purchase this fire-resistant clothing. So we should be fine from that perspective to get us through FY22. And then as you guys are putting your budgets together, I see Brandy on the call for FY23. I mean, that's going to happen sooner than later. So you guys can, try to make some sense of what this usage is going to be through the end of the term to come up with your new FY23 and on budgets going forward. So I'll pause there and see if you guys have any questions or comments.
Jenny, this is Ricky. Under the business unit column on your chart there, is it important to have the names of the business unit correct? Because they're all kind of jumbled.
Really just trying to show the cost center. Yeah, I don't know. That's really more budget perspective and how they like to see it. This is just to show that there were different line items. So we can set it up however.
Yeah, the call center is an important part. I'm just asking.
Okay. Do you want, is there anything you're seeing that's sticking out from the business unit that you want to update? Because we can make that before we send it over to Jay.
It just looks like substations spend a lot of money and they're not.
Okay.
So can I work with you on the names there after the fact?
Absolutely. Yep. I'll have Rodney
Jenny,
help us update that.
Lori Whitmer from Budget.
Hey.
We can have one of our analysts send that over as well.
Okay.
I have it
Thanks,
right
Lori.
here in my spreadsheet. Yep.
All right, perfect. So we'll take care of it, Ricky. I'll get it
Thank
updated.
you.
Rodney and Laura can work together on that. Any other comments, questions? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote on award number 7.
All right, may I get a motion to approve award item 7 with amendments?
This is Ricky.
Joe Orfano, second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Ricky Erickson, second from Joe Orfano. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion is adopted. The entire agenda is approved for October 21st, 2021. And are there any other business items or concerns to be brought before the awards committee at this time?
Stephen, I'll just make a quick note. I will be out of the office next Thursday. We were looking to see if we could cancel awards, but it looks like we are going to have that. So I'll have a sub from me. It'll either be Joe Perez or Heather Beard will sit in for me next week.
All right, very good. All right, thank you very much. We're adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.